Hello and welcome to WCTV's Wildlife Encounters. This program is brought to you in partnership with the Granite State Zoo in New Hampshire. I'm your host, Naomi Stock. Today's guest is Tiffany, who's a wildlife educator for the Granite State Zoo. We're excited to have her here. Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
So we'd love to tell our viewers about a little bit more about yourself. You know, how did you come to work with the Granite State Zoo?
Well, again, my name's Tiffany Makans. I'm currently a graduate student at Antioch University.
Okay.
And I kind of fell into this by accident. I had an internship with my undergrad college at New England College, working at a wildlife rehabilitation center.
Oh, nice.
And through that, I met people at the Audubon. I met Derek, who's the director of the Granite State Zoo, and they saw some of the programs that I was doing for that other organization, Wings of the Dawn, Wildlife Rehab, and decided to bring me on board. So I've had wonderful opportunities, just sort of falling into this.
Do you have any pursuits in the future, like any ideas of what you want to do 10 years from now? Or?
I'm going to go straight through. I'm going to get my PhD, become a college professor, and hopefully continue some of the work that I'll start doing in the fall in Africa, looking at parasites in primates.
In Africa?
Yeah.
That sounds really exciting.
It's a great place to be. I've been there, took a semester there in Kenya during my undergrad and fell in love with the area and fell in love with the people. So I hopefully will go back for the rest of my life.
Really? That sounds wonderful. Well, we're ready for your first guest.
Excellent. Today we're actually going to be looking at lots of native species to North America.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of native species. It's great to see things up close that you may not get to see close up very often for the safety of them and for the safety of us. So first we're going to start off with an animal that everybody's seen in their backyards, and if you're smart, you've not gotten too close to them. We call her Stella, but you will know her as a striped skunk.
Oh, look at you.
And everyone always asks if there are other types of skunk, because I call her the striped skunk, and there are actually 12 different types of skunk, and they come in stripes, and they come in spots, and they come in swirls. So this is our native species, our North American striped skunk.
Was I supposed to shriek? Ah, skunk! So you just look like a little fuzzer. Is this a baby? Because he looks really tiny.
Stella's actually full grown. I happen to be a short person. She happens to be a small skunk, but she is full grown. They come in all sorts of shapes. I've seen Cocker Spaniel shaped or sized skunks, and they're tiny ones like Miss Stella here.
Now she's very reserved right now, because sometimes the animals they bring on the show, they're crawling around the table and she's very relaxed. Is that because she's been performing all day, or she's just used to? She's in the middle of a nap. She's very
She's a nocturnal animal, so we had to wake her up to come to work today. So normally she would be sleeping right now, as are all the skunks that are in our backyards. And they have a fairly relaxed personality. Skunks in general, they're not very aggressive. They're not something that's going to come up to you and attack you in the wild. They stay to their own. They want to go underneath logs and hide in places and rather not be bothered by anything. They just hang out at night and eat lots and lots of bugs.
So when we see a skunk, because a lot of people's first instinct is to, it's going to spray me if I see it and turn. I mean, they're more afraid of us than we are of them. And would they, how close would you get to a skunk if you happen to run across one that it might spray you? You have to be chasing it, or?
For skunks to spray, it makes them uncomfortable to spray. The oil that they spray out of their sac, that they spray out from underneath their tail, it actually hurts them to spray. They don't want to do it. They have to feel like they are cornered and in danger and there's nowhere else for them to go. And they can spray up to 10 feet, so you can be closer or farther apart than you and I are now if she felt threatened enough. But generally if something comes after them, they do a couple other things first. They do a little skunk dance. They go back and forth with their front legs. They'll do a false charge. They don't want to spray. That's their last resort.
Did you see a skunk dance?
Yes. And it looks as silly as it sounds.
So what actually happens when the skunk sprays? What's actually happening in their system?
So what it is they have a small sac underneath their tail. So they have to be able to lift their tail to spray, otherwise they're just spraying themselves. And it's a small sac that they constrict and can propel out, sort of an oil-based, almost like a mucus, about 10 feet out if they have to. And then that because it's oil-based, will get onto clothes, will get onto skin. It's really hard to get off. It burns when it gets into your nasal passages, and again, it doesn't feel good for them either. But it is something they're born able to do. The babies have the spray, but like babies, humans, they're not able to control their body systems yet, so it's not very strong because it'll come out when they get too excited.
Now, why doesn't it feel, you were saying that it's not comfortable for them to spray?
It actually burns them a little bit. As I've seen happen before, if you get too much in one area, the mucus that they spray out will actually melt a plastic bag.
Wow.
And that's coming out of their body. So that's not something that they just want to do all the time.
Okay.
It's uncomfortable for
Well,
them.
that would make sense.
Because it burns us when it gets into our nasal passages, when it gets into our, near our eyes. So it feels uncomfortable for them as well.
Will she, if you put her on the table, will she not want to, she wants to curl up and go to sleep?
Yeah, if I put her on the table, she's going to feel like there's nowhere for her to go because she can't hide under things.
Okay.
This animal, if she can, she wants to either be by herself, hunting for insects, hunting for small mammals and invertebrates, or she wants to be underneath something, sort of hiding by themselves.
Now, how can you tell the difference between a male and a female?
You can see their external grill parts.
So there's no different colors?
No, when you look at them, the males tend to be a little bit bigger, but a small male could be a large female. So there's no sexual dimorphism from afar.
Okay, not three stripes versus
no.
What's that thing I'm thinking of that cartoon from years ago, the two skunks? Didn't one have, I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking
Pepe
of.
Le Pew.
There you go. Okay, great.
So that's Stella, our
thank you very much,
skunk.
Stella. We'll let you get back to your your nap zone.
Yeah. Her hidey hole.
She's like, what is this bright light? Is this the moon?
Why is the sun out? All right. And our next animal is actually something that's a lot smaller, something that most people aren't even going to know that is in their backyard, and something that, even though it's a native species, something that's here and has been here for quite a long time, most people will never see it in their lifetime.
Great.
So this guy here is a hognose snake. We have the eastern hognose. This happens to be a western hognose. We do have them in the Windham area. I've seen them as close as Derry. And since animals don't know political boundaries, I'm sure if they're in Derry, they're here in Windham as well. So this is a nocturnal snake. It's going to be awake during the nighttime, and it's a burrowing snake. I don't know how close you can get to, but he has a little hog nose. He has that upturned snout where he can actually dig holes in the ground if he can't find somewhere else to hide.
I think they can zoom in, and if you see, can you see? I can see it. Maybe if we turn him profile a little bit to the camera and see his nose. Well, don't look at me. So is this full grown?
No, actually, snakes are never full grown. So as long as a snake is alive and as long as snakes have resources, they're just going to keep on growing. So snakes that can live 35 years are going to grow for 35 years, and that's the same for turtles and tortoises as well.
I never knew that.
So
I'm not sure how many
a
people
live
knew that.
snake is not a full-grown snake.
So how big is this one supposed to get?
These don't get very big. You're not going to notice much of a length difference as he gets older. They tend to grow really, really slowly, not something like a reticulated python that can get to be 60 feet long. This guy's, he doesn't have much more to go in way of length. This is about all he has.
So he's using, you said it's a snout nose, he's using it to dig, and I think do a lot of snakes dig, or not really?
No. Not in general. They're going to find holes from other animals, things that other animals have dug already. They don't have the capability to burrow themselves.
Okay.
And these will do the same thing. They'll find other animal holes if they can, but if they have to, they can resort to digging their own burrow.
And what's his protective mechanism when someone's coming after him? Does he have anything?
He's a little guy. The problem with being a little guy in nature is lots of things try to eat you. So if he can't hide, these guys deliver a pretty swift headbutt. It's the only snake I've ever met that does that. His mouth is so small that he really can't even bite you if he wanted to. So he flattens out, tries to look big, gives you a little bit of a hiss, which is just them breathing outwards because they can't make noise. They don't have vocal cords. And then he rears up and he gives you a good headbutt.
Really?
Which, even though I am a lot bigger than him, it is kind of nerve-wracking when they do that.
So what actually is happening? I mean, does he pull his neck back and just do a jerk forward, or his
just like a snake, if you think of a constrictor right as they're going to strike, he does the same thing, but without opening his mouth and just sort of headbutts you a little bit.
Is he trying to hit you with his snout?
Oh no, he's just trying to find a less bright spot. Another thing these guys do actually is play dead. We think of opossums as playing dead, but they actually get so scared they pass out. These guys will actually play dead. They'll roll onto their back, show these bright colors that in nature often mean danger, and just sort of lay still and try to play dead.
That's really cool. I don't think we've had a snake on here yet that does that.
There's not many of them. This is actually the only one I've ever read about that does that. I'm sure there are others because there's never only or never in nature, so I'm sure something else does it as well, but that's his claim to fame, is he's the only snake in our area that plays dead.
Do all snakes shed their skin?
Absolutely. Snake skin is not flexible like our skin. It can't move around as much, so it's kind of like putting a shirt on that's too small. You need a bigger one. So when they shed, it's because they've grown enough where they've outgrown their skin.
Outgrown their suit.
Absolutely.
But his colors aren't going to change. When he gets older, he's not going to turn red or green.
No, he's gonna keep this coloration. This helps him blend into the environment. And the neat thing about his scales is he has the same scales as the rattlesnake, the critically endangered timber rattlesnake that we have. It's called a keeled scale. It has sort of a spine down the middle. Looks like it's folded. So when you get a chance to get up close to these guys, it's exactly what a rattlesnake looks and feels like, without having to be worried about touching a venomous snake like a rattlesnake.
That's really beautiful. He's almost like a matte. He almost doesn't look real, because I think some of the other snakes, they're shinier. Now he's shinier underneath, but the top, I mean, he's just a muted color. He doesn't have any shine. He's really pretty.
And that's part of helping him blend in, especially at night in the moonlight. When he comes out to get things like small amphibians are his favorite. He likes to eat little tiny frogs. He'll eat little tiny mice or bugs, different insects if he can. But this all helps him blend in as much as possible. Because again, when you're small in nature, you got a lot of stuff trying to eat you.
Right, right. And speaking of frogs, instead to bring up this one note, because I just think it's fascinating. Frogs actually freeze themselves. I'll let you explain it because you're the expert. But they freeze. I've never heard this in my life. Frogs freeze themselves. Not all of them do it the same way, but they freeze themselves. Well, they let themselves freeze over the wintertime.
It's a survival mechanism for things that don't make their own body heat, things that we would consider cold-blooded.
Right.
They need to get their heat from somewhere, and when they're not able to do that, their body processes actually start to shut down. So they have mechanisms that allow their body to shut down to get to that ambient temperature of the outdoors, and it allows them to not freeze and still survive over the winter. So lots of our amphibians will do that, and our reptiles to a certain point as well.
So if it's wintertime and you ever see a frog and you think he's dead, he may just be frozen. We need to take a short break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Physical activity doesn't have to be boring. In fact, it should be fun.
In New Hampshire, there are countless opportunities to be active and stay active. Our state's natural beauty provides a great setting that is perfect for outdoor recreation.
So when you're making your move to become more fit, don't forget that our state has all that you need to get active and stay active.
Welcome back to Wildlife Encounters. We have a very interesting guest for you. And who is this?
This is our 9-banded armadillo. This is the only armadillo in North America, though one of 20 overall armadillo species. And these guys are really amazing. Not a lot of people get to see these up close. There's something that lives in the southern United States, and though lots of people consider them pests, they've actually been used extensively in medical research. These are the guys that have helped cure leprosy, actually. One of the only human diseases that they carry, and because they do something called double twinning, they in effect have identical quadruplets. They've been able to do extensive medical testing on them and help cure things like leprosy.
And how did you guys get this guy?
He came to us as a rescue, something someone had illegally, unfortunately, which is one of the reasons why he's not as well socialized as some of the other animals that you might have seen on this show. He had some rather poor experiences with humans, and we've done our best to show him that not all people are like the people who had him before.
So, I don't know anything about armadillos. So, I mean, they are one of the most interesting looking creatures.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the reasons that he looks the way he has? I mean, I know there's a protective shell. It's almost like a piece of sculpture.
If you've ever felt a football, that's exactly what he feels like. It's just a really thick protective skin. He's got 9 different scoots on him that allow him to be really flexible.
When you say scoot, what is that?
Scoots are just those pieces of skin.
Okay.
Those little armor plating. He's got these really long nails that allow him to dig. These guys are known for their ability to dig really large holes really, really fast. They have a really long tongue that's almost as long as their face, that's extraordinarily sticky to help with insectivores. And They are fantastic jumpers. They can jump up to 4 feet.
Really?
If you've ever seen a lobster, you know, when they curl up into sort of like a U shape and then they flap their body out to try to scare us.
Right.
These guys do the same thing, except they can jump about 4 feet in the air. And they also have the ability to walk underwater. They let all the air out of their bodies, which allow them to walk underwater, or they can take a very deep breath. They can inflate their stomach and float across it, depending on what they feel they need to do. Absolutely.
They can float across, they're floatable.
Yep. So they can, unfortunately it takes them a while to get that air out of their stomach, but if they want to go underwater, they can hold their breath for 6 minutes, which is pretty long, especially for a non-aquatic mammal.
Have you ever seen one deflate himself?
I have not, and it's not something you would see from the outside. It's like when we would feel bloated.
Right.
And they would do the same thing, and they just have to sort of burp that up, and it takes a really long time. It can take hours for them, unfortunately.
Now he has a lot of fur. He has almost everything. You know, when you think about almost like the tail, it reminds me a little bit more of like a snake, and then you have the armor, and then the nails, and he also has some fur. So his mechanism, basically, if something's chasing him, he just tucks his head, and he's like, can something get through that shell? You said it's like a football.
It would be hard. So if something wanted to get at him, they would really try to flip him over to get to his stomach, because his stomach is really soft. Same as like with a porcupine.
Okay.
It's almost not worth trying to get at from the top, so they would need to flip them over to get at them.
Okay.
As they get older, they get many less predators, because it's pretty difficult to eat these guys.
Right.
They can run pretty fast, and then they do have that ability, once they get into bushes or somewhere where they're hidden for even a minute, they can dig really large holes pretty fast and hide.
His eyes are really, really small.
They
really are fascinating. I mean,
as with many nocturnal animals, he has really poor vision. He's got super tiny eyes, which means not a lot of light gets let in, so they don't have very good vision. When you see nocturnal animals that have huge eyes, that's to let more light in, so they have better vision. So when you think of something like an owl, has fantastic night vision, as opposed to something like this, where his eyes are the size of your pinky fingernail.
His ears do look like they're made of leather.
They do. He has really great hearing. He has a fantastic sense of smell, but just not very good on the vision.
And those nails, I mean, look at his back. His back foot almost looks human. I mean, it almost looks like a human's,
somewhere between a human and a dinosaur. These guys are one of the oldest mammals according to the fossil record, and they haven't changed much in thousands of years. This is pretty much what they looked like thousands of years ago.
Is he heavy?
He's not very heavy. He's only a few pounds.
He's very strong.
He's really, really strong. Those legs that let him dig really fast in the dirt, or jump 4 feet up in the air, or run really fast, are very powerful.
Well, we'll let you get him back before he starts dancing. Oh, he's a little cutie pie.
So this guy here is another native species that we have in New England. As were the everything but the armadillo that you've seen here today. Another nocturnal animal, something that a lot of people are not going to see. They're the most common wildcat in North America. Their range is southern Canada all the way to northern Mexico. They're in every state in the United States, and this guy's only about 10 weeks old.
Really?
So he's a bobcat, which is a member of the lynx family. There's 4 members of that family. He's going to be the smallest, but he's still going to be about 35 pounds.
Right. Now, how did you get him? Can I touch him?
No, unfortunately. He needs a special permit to be able to touch these guys. He was bred as an education animal through the Department of Natural Resources in Minnesota.
Okay.
A lot of the animals we have at the Granite State Zoo are rescues, but the ones that are not, we try really hard to make sure that they come from reputable sources, places that don't overbreed, because you will find things, unfortunately, with the exotic animals, something like an exotic animal puppy mill.
That's great for camera.
So even though he's super cute right now, he will be a great predator when he's older. These guys have the ability to take down prey 10 times their body size. They will take down, in the winter when there's not a lot of other resources, they'll take down things like an adult deer.
Really?
In the winter, the deer, they don't have as many resources, they're not as strong, they're not as fast.
Okay.
He would have a hard time, in the fall taking down one, but in the winter when there's not a lot of resources, they're completely capable of taking down something about 10 times the size. Though normally they would eat things like rabbits and squirrels.
You look at that face, look at those ears and those little paws. I mean, you really look like a little cat.
Right now he looks like a kitten,
yeah,
and you're going to find that with a lot of wild cats. In their kitten stage when they're just born, they look like our house cats. But his feet are one of the indications that he's going to get to be a lot bigger. Can you turn around for the camera?
So he seemed to play, went after your hand when you made that.
He's really social right now. They get very solitary as they get older. The females, this is a male, and the females get really territorial. But those big feet that he has, those are going to help him walk across the snow. Those are going to help him stay above ground. They're also going to help him when he's going after other animals.
Does he make, he's purring.
He's purring right now. They do make some cat calls, and they do purr. The larger cats, things like lions, can't purr, but the smaller ones like this guy can.
So was he with a bunch of children this afternoon?
Yes, he was actually at the library doing our World Full of Wild Tales program.
And how did that go? I bet the kids were like, that's not a wild animal, that's a cat.
Some people are super impressed because they know that he's a bobcat, and other kids are like, I have that at home. So he's not super impressive looking to a lot of the kids right now, but the adults like him. But as he gets older, as he gets to be 35 pounds and a very heavily bodied cat, he'll be a lot more impressive.
And he'll be with you till he's an adult? I mean, will he be released somewhere else?
No. When things are born in captivity, they don't have their parents to teach them what they need to be taught. They don't have the same immune system that they would need to survive in the wild. So if we release something like this, it unfortunately wouldn't survive. But we do make the commitment when we do have an animal, whether we get it from the Department of Natural Resources or when we rescue them, we do keep them for their lifetime, however long that may be. Okay. We take that commitment very seriously.
So that's really neat because you'll be able to watch him grow old. Grow old.
Absolutely.
You'll come back in 10 years with some gray hairs. That's okay. He'll still be just as cute. Look at that little tail.
Like most wild animals, if we come back next year, he'll be his full 35 pounds.
That's right. That's right.
They grow a lot faster than we realize.
The tail's real short.
The tail is short. That's how they get their name, the bobcat. He was born with his tail like this. This isn't something that a breeder did. It's not like a Cocker Spaniel or a Great Dane where they dock the tail. He was born this way.
That's why they're called.
And that's why they're called bobcats. Because they have the bobbed tail.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Well, you're just adorable, and obviously you want to play. That's what he's wanting to do with you, right? He wants to play with you.
At this age, they would still be playing with all of their siblings, so they are still very, very social. As they get older, again, they get very defined territories, especially the females, and they become very solitary, a lot less playful. So even though he looks really cute and playful right now, he will be fairly dangerous as he gets older.
Well, it was wonderful. Thank you so much,
thank you again
Tiffany,
for
joining us. Thank you for joining us at WCTV Windham Community Television. If you'd like to get up close with these or other animals, please contact the Granite State Zoo. Thanks for watching. Till next time.